Media night here at the Flyers Pizza in West Jefferson. Todd Bell, along with the head coach of the Roughriders, Shawn Buescher, as they get set to take on Urbana in the season opener. Coach, boy, time flies. It seems like we were just wrapping things up in Coldwater just yesterday, and now you've had a full off season. Things are sort of back to normal, and I have to imagine that you have a much better feeling knowing you can lose sleep over X's and O's now instead of all that other stuff that you were going through this time a year ago.
Yeah, it's going to be good to keep creeping towards normal, if you will. There's still some of those things we deal with, but to your point, Todd, you're right. I mean, it's nice to be worried more about just regular football type of things now instead of everything else. I mean, these are still things that, are at the forefront of our mind to make sure our kids are safe and things of that nature, but it's good just to kind of worry more of the West Jeff football instead of everything to do with COVID.
Now, I mean, we'll have plenty of opportunity throughout the season to talk players and X's and O's, but there's a few things that I do want to touch on because I know you're so big on building culture and doing things that a lot of programs don't do, such as a media night like this, allowing the kids an opportunity to talk to us and other media outlets here this evening. Why are things like this so important to you and helping to continue to strengthen your program?
Well, because our priority truly is to try to develop a young man into being a good person. We want to give them skills to be successful after they're finished with high school and after they're finished with our program. We understand winning is important, but it's truly not our priority. I mean, we want these young men to be, down the road, to be good husbands, good fathers. Right now, we want them to be good sons, good teammates, good friends. And we, again, go back to what I just said, we want to give them skills, such as tonight, putting young men in front of a camera, make them answering questions. That's going to help them down the road for interviews, working with people. So it's about trying to develop the overall person, not just a football player.
There's so many other things that you do. You've got the weekly bright and early in the morning. You have people come in and speak to them, coaches, to try and teach them more about life and about, there's more than what's on the field. But I thought there was one thing you had here recently as well, the mother-son banquet, and that was new to me. That was something that your athletic director, Mitch Dalton, clued me in on, and I looked a little bit on it. Where did that come from, and why is that so important to keep those moms involved as well?
Sure. Well, we came up with the idea a few years ago, and it was just a way for us to continue to promote to our young men how precious that their moms are in their lives and how they should treat women. And also it's just a way for us to say thank you to the moms in our program. They are definitely a big reason that we have success we do. This is a great place to be. The support we have here is tremendous. Our parents are great. The moms are extremely supportive. Like every year we have a senior moms group that does special things for our program. They're the individuals that take and run with that. It's extras, if you will. And it's things our kids and our coaches really appreciate. So that's a night for the young men to be with their moms, to take them out on a date night, if you will. And it's also a way for our staff to say thank you.
Would it be harder if we were 15 miles in towards downtown at some of the bigger schools? Is it easier to pull these types of things off, get the community to buy in, and really make it special because you're in such a smaller community?
That's a great question. It's funny. I've never been caught up in the levels, Todd. So it's our 20th year here. I mean, obviously we're a small school, and my wife and I, we love it here. We do. So this has become home to us. So this is really the only place I've ever really wanted to be. I've never really seriously considered ever leaving here. But to your point, I think you can do those things at bigger schools. I don't see why you couldn't. It just has to be something that's important to the staff. I'm sure there are other programs out there that do such things and they make it a priority, but it's important to us. So because it's important to us, it's become important to our kids, and therefore it's become important to the families. And now that we've been doing it for a while, it's just something that's kind of taken off all these extra things you're talking about, like our mentor program, our culture talks, the mother-son. I mean, those are things now, it's become part of the tradition of West Jeff football.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what's ahead. You're back to a 10-game regular season schedule, so everybody's excited about that. You open up on the road at Urbana, you come back for Paint Valley, and then it's OHC teams that point after that. When you look at the schedule, expectations for you, I know they're always high, but just the way it's kind of laid out for you this year.
Well, expectations are high at West Jeff. I mean, and that's a big reason that when I came here 20 years ago, it was downtrodden. I think I was like the 5th coach in 6 years. So, but I really felt when I came here, you could rebuild it into what it is now, and it's a tradition-rich program. A lot of alumni have a great amount of pride in what takes place in our program. They follow us not only by being present on Friday nights, but if they live in other states, I get emails. I mean, so we're excited about the opportunities that you just alluded to. We have a new challenge this year to open up with Urbana. It's a new game for us. I know they're going to be extremely athletic. They're a bigger school. They're a D4 school, so they're a couple divisions bigger than us. So I also feel like, adding Paint Valley to the slate, they're preseason ranked top 10 in the state in our division, Division 6. So, we get them here, so that's going to be a great challenge. And then we go into our crossover games. I know Greenon won the other half last year of the OHC. So, expectations, the one thing that I talk to our kids about, Todd, is we want to be the best versions of ourselves. So we want to max out whatever that is. And as long as our kids continue to have a great attitude and effort that they have to this point, we'll be able to max them out.
A lot of coaches don't like to talk about postseason this far away, but I'll bring it up only because there's a couple of changes this year. Something that I think was supposed to take effect a couple of years ago, but expanded playoffs this year. 16 teams rather than 8 are going to qualify in each region. You've changed regions now. You're into Region 23, so fans can look that up and see the teams that are there as well. What do those changes mean to not only you, but other coaches, other schools, when they're now looking forward to, wow, maybe we were a fringe team before, but now we can really get into the playoffs?
Well, I think you can look at it from a lot of different angles. One, it is going to allow a lot more teams to make the playoffs. So, there's going to be a lot more young men and be able to experience that. A lot of more communities be able to experience what it's like to be in the playoffs. But the other thing you got to look at too is, from our perspective, and we've taken this to account already, and how we're approaching the preseason in terms of practices is, if you would go all the way to the end, that's a 16-game season. So, you're playing in basically an NFL schedule. So I think you got to be careful on how you manage the kids, especially early in the year, in terms of how much you hit, the length of your practices. Those are all things that we already take into consideration here at West Jefferson anyway. But when you sit down and look at it, those are things you really got to take into account. How much wear and tear on a high school body can there truly be? As far as the region change, we're excited. It puts us in an area, and we haven't been in a while. It actually attaches us back to a lot of Columbus schools. That is where our district is anyway, so that's kind of cool to be back over that way. That's where our kids are kind of recognized for all districts and things of that nature. And then also, it puts us in some Southeast Ohio, with some Southeast Ohio schools, which is going to be new. Sometimes we go Southeast Ohio in D5. We haven't been Southeast Ohio as much in D6 as of late. It's just kind of the way it's fallen. But so we're excited about all those challenges.
We already talked about the expectation level, and it's not something you shy away from. You talk about winning conference championships, making deep runs into the postseason. Why do you guys and your players and this community embrace that so much?
Well, I think it's so tradition rich, and there's a couple ways you can really look at it. I mean, we first and foremost want to max out every team, as I alluded to. But when you're at a place like this and you start looking at the history and what the teams that before us have done, not only in our tenure but well before our tenure, obviously, with all the success they've had with state championships and deep playoff runs and coaches in the High School Hall of Fame and all the first-team All-State athletes, it becomes part of, you want to be able to leave your mark on this program. When we talk to our kids about that, is what have you done to enhance, not rest on the laurels of those who come before you, but enhance our program. And those are all things. I don't think there's any other way to do it except embrace it and talk about it. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make the people in this community proud.
We're certainly looking forward to it. It's been a couple of great runs the last couple of years, hoping for another great one this year, and being back here with you and your team in this community. And we hope that people liked what we did last year and that we can do it again this year, if not better.
Yeah, well, Todd, you and your crew do a tremendous job. You add so much to our program in terms of not only getting the product out to those in the community that can't make it to the contest, but just the quality of the work you do and how just the expertise. So we're extremely happy to partner with you, and we look forward to doing it this year as well.
All right, should be a lot of fun. That's head coach of the Roughriders, Shawn Buescher. Team will be taking on Urbana to open up the season, and we'll be visiting with Coach throughout. And that'll wrap up our media days here at Flyers Pizza and Subs in West Jeff. Certainly a gracious host for this, and all the players that we had as well. Thanks for being with us here on our media day.